Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? My name's Kent, and the channel is EOS San Diego. And I want to talk a little bit tonight about Next Level EOS. I want to talk about the DPoS system, but I also want to talk about applications, because EOS is really about an application platform. It's about a decentralized application platform. And where we're at today with EOS is mainly games and gambling. That is the majority of the applications running on EOS today. But there is a lot of things planned in the future that are going to be a lot more complicated and require something that's very much trusted, a chain that's very much trusted, especially if you put in a lot of private information on it. And it's funny because I was thinking today when I was listening to people over the years about blockchain, it's always two groups of people. There's the group of people that do the proof of work, and then the people that do the DPoS, the proof of stake. The proof of work people are always bummed out because the blockchain never goes very fast. It's always slow. The proof of stake people are always bummed out because people are always saying they're centralized. So one of the two groups is always upset because it's either we're going too slow or we're too centralized. But, and of course, that's what we've been talking about with EOS. We've been talking a little bit about block producing, but actually EOS is more about application building and application platform than it is about block producing. But what is required of EOS is something that people have a lot of faith and trust in. The system has to have a lot of integrity. The system has a lot of integrity. The applications, the developers will develop, they will build, and things will become more sophisticated and complicated. And the applications will have more and more personal information on it because people feel more comfortable with it and they feel like it's in good hands and it's very trusted. That's why we've been having the discussion about Brandon Bloomer and about the comment he made about paying people or giving back rewards to block producers. And you know how that plays out, and obviously, if the main thing about this is making sure that the community stays in control. I mean, it's interesting. I made that video last night, and I got a lot of great comments on it. But the one comment I think that had more comments than any other was the fact that people said that exchanges should not be able to make your vote. So exchanges should not be able to make your vote. I say back to them, why do you stop with voting as far as exchanges are concerned? You leave your EOS on an exchange, you're not only giving them the right to vote, you're giving them your airdrops, you're giving them all the other amenities, the extra benefits and bonuses of owning the EOS platform or owning the EOS token. So if you give over your voting rights to somebody else, or you give over your all your stuff to somebody else, they're obviously, you know, it's out of your control, and you're not gonna. It's done by your own consent because that's the way you're leaving it. So yeah, that's a very good point. Having EOS on an exchange that you can't be able to use your vote. So I think what Brendan Bloomer is saying is let's get people more motivated to vote by giving them a reward. So more incentivizing them to vote instead of leaving their leaving their vote on an exchange. Let's give it back to them. I mean, make them more interested in voting. And actually, that's the way the system has to go, and for it to reach next level. I think that and like I said, with the DPoS system, people want to feel like it's a trusted chain. They don't want to feel like it's centralized. They want to feel like it's totally decentralized. That will draw more app developers and builders and all this other stuff. So yeah, people should probably be very careful with their vote and make sure their vote. I would venture to say right now that of the 20 to 30% voting right now, most of that's being done off of an exchange. Probably very few individuals are actually voting as individuals. The exchanges are voting for them. So, and you can see that the number one block producer is an exchange. And that's the way it is because that's the way people want it to be. Because people could change it if they wanted to change it. I used to be a stockbroker. Every time somebody wanted their stock certificates, I got yelled at. The brokerages would be mad at me. So if you bought 100 shares of IBM, we would hold it in-house. In street name is what we would call it. And if the customer would call me up and say, hey, we'd like our 100 shares of IBM sent to us, the people at the office would get mad at me. Oh, we got to get the stock certificates, and there's a printing charge, and there's all these other charges. So we would never send out a stock certificate. And then I would always tell the client, you don't want those stock certificates, because if you want to sell them, you got to get them back to me. And when we mail them out to you, it's a big problem, and so on and so forth. So I understand the convenience of holding things on an exchange or holding things with a brokerage. But in the case of EOS, I think it actually makes the chain more centralized, much more centralized. And I think that's something that Brendan Bloomer was talking about. Let's not make it centralized. Let's give it back to the community and let the community decide. If you give it back to the community and say, hey, look, there's an incentive for voting, it'll be more in community hands, and that's probably the best place for it to be, especially if it's going to be decentralized, to address decentralization, which is what's going to have to happen for us to be next level, for the applications to be more secure, for people to be more comfortable for building, for more private information to be put on the blockchain. There's a lot of high-level stuff ready to go on a blockchain. In fact, everything could go on blockchain. Literally everything you can think of could go on blockchain. So why would we want to turn it over to a centralized group of people? Let's keep it as decentralized as possible, and that's putting it in the hands of the community. And I think that's the way we were talking here the last couple of days. But anyway, a lot of good things coming up. A lot of things to be very, very positive about. So, and then this is an interesting discussion. I think it's a discussion that's got to continue to take place, because things don't get worked out overnight. It takes time for things to get worked out, especially things of value, especially things that people are passionate about and people have a high interest in. It takes a little bit of time for things to get worked out. And I think things are getting worked out very well. So anyway, I'm a little bit chilly here tonight. As you can see, it's rain all around me. So it's been rain last night and tonight. And it'll probably rain tomorrow too. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.